Morning all. Sitting out here, not even properly dressed yet, just a shawl thrown over my dressing gown and wellies, out in the Coire Sois garden, and it's beautiful. Last night it was just covered in mist, and it was like smoke drifting from a sacred fire, the way the mist was rolling in from the sea over the fields and coming into the garden. But today is bright, although there's clouds, and you can probably hear the beautiful bird song. And it is officially, finally, Bealtaine here in the Coire Sois garden, because the hawthorn blossoms have opened. I'm going to bring you over here to see them, over beside the lunchroom mobile. So the apple blossom is all but gone. See that tree here, they're completely gone. Don't know if you can see that at all. There's just one lot of blossoms left here on this one, but here Bealtaine has arrived in our Coire Sois garden. I've been watching these like a hawk, and of course they opened out while I was up at Uisneach. So today and yesterday, I'm shattered, to be honest. Not as young as I used to be. And yeah, I feel really, full in my heart and uplifted by Uisneach and all the amazing people, and especially the just incredible Coire Sois women and the friends who joined us, Matcha, Medicine Woman, who was our lovely salmon of knowledge, and sisters from my Kilkenny Druid Grove, Marcella and Alwyn and Ag, and sister priestess from the Fellowship of the Goddess Isis, Jackie Burgess, and her wonderful friend Eileen, who does Celtic Kirtan and who joined us as well as our goddess Anya, and Jackie took on the very weighty role of Balor, which is not something everyone can hold, and did it beautifully. And then it was just so lovely to have women from the current training group. I had Deirdre and Elaine and Lisa and who else had Lorna, all from that group. And then from last year's group, I had Katrina and Gillian. Did I have more from that group? Yes, I did. I had someone else from that group, I'm sure. And then from the 2019 training, there were graduates from that as well. We had Jen and Sharon, Maggie, who was over from Spain for the weekend, and Sarah, of course, who also did the level 2 celebrancy training, as did April. Trassa was very, very busy doing firekeeping and stewarding and all kinds of other jobs, but she was around. Who else had we from that group? Oh gosh, this is awful now. I can't remember everyone's names, but like all of you, I'm just so proud of you all. And you're just amazing women. And the feeling of sisterhood and inclusion, of, the blending of different groups together. Tracy and Emer from Scargill Nargle up north, up in Lisburn. Wonderful to have you with us as well. And Jennifer McKinnon, who didn't do the priestess training but is very much a Coire Sois student, has done lots of courses and workshops with us. And we did a manic race through the ages with our sacred storytelling performance, from introducing the Bradon Fassa, and Kayak as the Shaper of the Land, with Alwyn doing that. Then to the arrival of the Thuad Danan, to a little interlude to introduce Maeve, who, you know, has to be remembered at Bealtaine, through the story of Lou's conception and birth, and then the arrival of the Milesians, and then Sarah doing a fantastic job as Amergin and Amergin's song to the land, and then the fading away of the Tuatha into the invisible realm, into the other world, and Eru addressing the crowd. And so delighted to have good friend carrying in the masculine, Sean Mulrooney from Town, the Drones of Praise, who came to sing Mama Eru with us. And apologies to Sean, who was great to just fling himself into it, and he was doing the kind of slightly up-tempo song version that he had created from the chant, whereas the girls were familiar with the original chant at a slower pace, so it might have come across a bit all over the place on that end. But I think the storytelling engaged people, and it was really great that we had held circle before that, invoked Eru into our body in that circle of women into our bodies, and so we were carrying that sacred energy. So it wasn't just a piece of drama, we were carrying those sacred energies of the gods and goddesses with us, as we, you know, went into the storytelling. And so I hope what we did with the storytelling was to connect people with those energies, rather than just, you know, a bit of entertainment, which hopefully it was as well. So other than that, yeah, such great music everywhere. Could hear the whole amazing Bog Body set from the campsite, but was busy carrying down lots of you know, costumes and props and stuff just as they were kicking off, because we had just finished before them. And I suppose the highlight for all the women was walking in the procession and really honouring Eru, who was represented by our April beautifully again this year, as she did last year. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience. And I did see Michael Fortune from folklore.ie going, oh lads, you know, anyone else think that Uisneach Fire Festival is like a cross between a leveller's gig and a trip to Knock? And, you know, on the one hand, I can see what he means. Yeah, loads of people floating around in their beautiful gear, and, you know, the music, and maybe there's an element of the trip to Knock in that it is a pilgrimage for lots of us. But I think maybe for people who aren't pagan, there's a missing of the point of what it actually really, really means for lots of us. So for us, for the Coire Sois group and friends, for any other pagans there, it is an actual pilgrimage to a sacred site. It is an honouring of the ancestors. It is a remembering and honouring of the ancient gods and goddess of the land. And yes, it's pageant, of course, you know, with people in costume, because I saw somebody else describe it as LARPing. It is a pageant with people in costume. But what you mightn't be aware of, if you're not pagan, is how significant that is for those of us who actually, you know, practice Indigenous spirituality, insofar as we know what that was. And I always say that because we have to be honest about that. We don't know. But I imagine, you know, a sacred site like Uisneach, at that time of Bealtaine, where the Great Fire was lit, and other similar sites around the land, you know, Lacrue, for instance, that there would have been a mighty hoolie, you know. I imagine ceremony and ritual to honour the turn of the year, you know, to invoke the gods, to ensure abundance and fertility for the land, because that was survival, you know, the fertility of the land and the abundance of the land meant food or not food, you know. So yes, that aspect of it, but I imagine lots of feasting and shenanigans, and certainly lots of, you know, pairing off, lots of wild freedom being expressed, and probably people bringing things to exchange and bringing food or bringing goods. So maybe it wasn't all that different, just a big hoolie, a big celebration. But, after all of it, all the people, all the interactions, all the kind of energy output, I have to say I'm shattered. I'm uplifted, I'm full, I'm nourished, but I'm also really tired. And maybe 40 years ago in my 20s I would have been like bouncing back, but I'm feeling like my batteries are a bit drained. So yeah, I need to kind of recharge now. So this beautiful bird song and sunshine in the garden is really helping this morning. And I've had a lot of feedback from people who either saw the storytelling or were chatting to us, and women interested in the priestess training and in what we do. So I sincerely hope that a planned workshop over at Roisin Lennon's place over in Clare will happen. We're still waiting to kind of firm it up. We're looking at potentially the 3rd of June. And that will be a workshop on Imrama, on the otherworldly journeys, and connecting deeper into the land and especially the sovereignty goddesses. And I am planning to email Uisneach today or tomorrow and see about availability sometime over the next couple of months for the earth space up there, because I'd like to run a sovereignty workshop up there as well. I think that would be a really good place to be, to connect in with obviously Eru in particular, but the sovereignty goddesses of this land. So huge thanks to everybody who participated with Coire Sois. Huge thanks to everybody who put so much work into creating that site, massive amounts of work. So Patsy Preston, just amazing as always. Ro for all those amazing costumes. Everybody else who worked on the site, and David and Angela Clark, who are such good custodians of that place and who open it up in that way and make it possible for us all to be there, So yeah, reflecting on it all and on, as always, that theme of sovereignty, the stepping into our own power and being aware with that of the responsibility that it brings, and to be real and authentic within ourselves, so that as people who walk this path, we can allow that energy, that sacred energy, to flow through us. And the clearer we are in ourselves and in our own authenticity, the more that can flow through us. So yeah, just taking it all in, and what my son would call decompressing, and that's it now till the next rodeo. So looking forward to seeing all my Coire Sois students again at the beginning of next month. And yeah, I have drums, I have bits and pieces that got left in my car. One is identified and that's fine. There's another drum waiting to be claimed. There is a moonstone ring. There's a big wooden necklace. And also, I think some of my stuff got put into the boot of the wrong car, which I am hoping is my student Elaine's car. But it could be that some random stranger has gone off with 2 shawls and 2 skirts and my grandmother's enamel brooch. So if there's anybody listening to this and found such items in the boot of their car, please give me a shout. So for now, I will say Gra agus Banach Thí. Slán go fóill, beautiful people.